Get ready for a new round in the fight over voting rights and walkouts at the Capitol.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm not coming back. So, news alert, I will not be there.
The governor adds new priorities to his call for a second special session, how lawmakers are responding to the plan. The Longhorns' decision to pull out of the Big 12 draws attention and anger at the State House.
If you're as big and great as you think you are, you should have made the Big 12 equal or better than the SEC, and you didn't do it.
We look at why lawmakers are getting involved and the roadblocks to their efforts. Plus, families placing loved ones in specialized homes don't always receive the care that's needed. How a new law aims to help families know what they're really getting.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. I'm Wes Rappaport in for Josh Hinkle. Governor Greg Abbott delivered on his promise to call lawmakers back to the Capitol to tackle his top priorities. He ordered a second special legislative session. It's underway now with an expanded agenda. As the window closes on the first special session, another one opens for a second 30-day session. Governor Greg Abbott put 17 items on his legislative agenda. Lawmakers can only pass bills relating to that list. The new ones include creating uniform business regulations, adjusting the requirements to have enough members to vote on legislation, and updates to statewide education policies relating to the coronavirus.
This Delta variant is a real issue across Texas. I want to make sure that we've got the ability to respond to that. The Democrats should want to be here to help solve those problems.
The controversial items returning include critical race theory, rules for transgender student athletes, and voting rules. That's what prompted House Democrats to leave town in the first place and bring the State House to a standstill.
This is nothing more than yet another red meat session that he has interlaced some other things in there to make it seem as if either he thinks the Democrats are dumb and thinks he's trying to do us a favor, or he just wants to say the Democrats don't care about COVID.
There are a handful of priorities that have built bipartisan support, like providing a supplemental check for retired teachers, state spending property tax fixes, and dating violence prevention education. But some Texas Democrats tell me they don't plan to budge until they can move the needle on federal voting legislation to preempt the Texas elections proposal.
And so I would love nothing more than to come back to the state capitol and get to work with my Republican colleagues to solve real problems that real Texans face. But instead, Governor Abbott has announced a special session that is filled with conspiracy theories.
Now, as you heard, some House Democrats are planning to keep breaking quorum, blocking the bills in the second special session. Earlier, I spoke with State Rep Jim Murphy, who chairs the House Republican caucus. I asked him whether he sees any way to find common ground with Democrats to move some of the governor's priorities forward.
Well, the quickest way to find common ground is to be on common ground, is to have them here in Austin with us, shaping legislation, offering amendments, having discussions. Wes, I haven't heard a single substantive objection to House Bill 3 as it sits today. They're just people who don't like it. But if they listen to the Texas people, the people we represent, they want elections that are uniformly held across the state with consistent rules. They want to make sure that girls can compete against girls in sports. Listen to the people of Texas. I think when they do, they're going to find these bills have the support they need to pass.
But there won't be any progress on any of those priority bills until a significant number of Democrats return to the State House. I spoke with State Representative Jasmine Crockett about the prospect of she and her colleagues coming back to Austin in the coming days. The Dallas Democrat told me she's planning to keep up the fight, but she's not speaking for all of the people in the delegation.
You know, right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not coming back. So, news alert, I will not be there on day one. There are some things that we're working on that I'm not at liberty to discuss at this moment. I can tell you that we are all grown individuals. I do anticipate that there will not be a quorum, but I can't say what the next person is going to do. I can only tell you what I'm going to do, and that is that I'm not going to show up and give him a quorum for him to continue the terror that he started in our original session. I think that some may be surprised by our next moves. I'm pretty excited for the surprises that may be coming, but we're continuing to fight. we're still in this.
The special session is happening as Texas faces a new surge in COVID-19 cases. State health leaders say this latest wave of the pandemic is shaping up to be the worst yet. Data released Wednesday by the Texas Department of State Health Services showed the 7-day average of new cases up 92% from the previous week. Hospitalizations and deaths are also rising statewide. The state's epidemiologist said anyone who's not vaccinated should wear a mask in public, including children. And health leaders are urging everyone to get the COVID vaccine. That message is also coming from state leaders, both Democrats and Republicans. I asked State Rep Greg Bonin, who's a physician, about the importance of the vaccine now in Texas.
So the bottom line is, for people that are hesitant or anxious about being immunized, is that you really only have two choices. You'll either become infected or you'll become immunized. The virus is eventually going to affect everyone in the population. It appears that what we're seeing now with respect to the increase in the hospitalizations is those people who have not been immunized are becoming infected.
Even Governor Abbott is encouraging Texans to get the vaccine. That's the message he gave Wednesday when speaking to a trade group at their national convention in Dallas.
The surest way to end the pandemic is for everyone who wants one to make sure they get the vaccine. That said, going forward in Texas, there will not be any government-imposed shutdowns or mass mandates. Everyone already knows what to do. Everyone can voluntarily implement the mandates that are safest for them, for their families, and for their businesses.
Late last month, the governor issued an executive order that makes it harder for local governments and school districts to enact new COVID-19 restrictions. It eliminated the order that previously allowed local officials to impose business restrictions if their area reached 15% COVID hospitalization threshold. A seismic shakeup when it comes to college football in the state of Texas.
One could argue that the earth beneath college sports has shifted more in the last 4 weeks than it has in the last 4 decades.
Why the big money battle over the Longhorns leaving the Big 12 moved beyond the football field and into the state capitol. Making the decision to put a loved one in assisted living or a nursing home is not easy. It's even harder when that person needs around-the-clock care. The questions you should be asking these centers, coming up.